Q&A with Christophe.
Q&A with Christophe.
Q&A with Christophe.
Today I welcome you in my kitchen. The reason for that is very simple. I have a question, is from Hervé, he's from France. The question is very simple. The answer, of course, not as much. Should we eat less meat in the future? So let's investigate. Well, I would answer the question of should we less eat meat with another question. Less than how much, less than whom? Because in the world there's lots of variation. So let's take an example of a consumption of 100 kilo of meat a year. That's kind of an average that's in the higher end, let's say, between the Western countries. 100 kilo of meat a year, that's about 250 grams of meat a day. So how much protein is there in meat? Well, that varies a lot if you have a lean meat or a fatty meat. It can vary from between 15 and 30 plus. So let's take 25. So if we take 25% of 250 grams, that's about, well, that's 62.5 grams per day. So how does that compare with the nutritional need? Nutritional need, well, you'll find also some different numbers, but let's say it varies between 0.7 gram of protein per kilo of body weight to 1 gram of protein per kilo of body weight. So let's say if you take a person of 70 kilo, their need would be between 49 gram and 70 gram. So you see 62.5 gram of protein is already covering a lot of the needs. So then, yeah, I think it's fair to ask yourself, you know, is it too much or not? The answer, of course, it might be more complicated because the need of protein also varies between the age, it varies between the sexes, it varies also between your lifestyle, about how active you are, how physical activity you need to do, is your work physically demanding or not. So there are many aspects that play a role. What is your health status? Do you need to be on a special diet? So you see, it's complicated. One of the problems also that we see with conversation about meat, it's full of emotions. It's very subjective, there is a lot of psychology, unfortunately there is also a lot of politics, a lot of ideology, also a lot of special interest, money interest. So it's very difficult to really figure out in all the mass of information and disinformation there is around there what is right. I would say, let's take a simple example. Let's take myself. So how much meat do I eat and how much protein do I eat? Because meat very often is associated with protein, but let's face it, meat is not just protein. Actually, the first component of meat is water, and after that, depending on the fattiness of the meat, well, you're going to have different percentage of protein, you're also going to have different percentage of fat. You also need to look at the quality of your protein, the quality of the amino acids, the quality also of the fat, and in particular of the essential fatty acids. And also in meat, well, there are very important minerals and vitamins. For instance, well, iron is a very known one. The other one is vitamin B12. So let's go back to me. I'm about 80 kilo. I would say my weight varies between 77 and 80 kilo, but let's take 80 kilo. So my need in protein would be 0.7 times 80 kilos, so that is 56 grams a day, going up to, if I take 1 gram, then 80 grams. So between 56 grams and 80 grams a day of protein. Well, how much do I eat? And that's where I've been doing some interesting calculations. My guess is on a daily basis, or when I eat meat during a day, on average it probably would be about 150 grams. And let's say that I would eat meat only 6 days a week, because I don't eat meat every day, but to round it up. So that's 900 grams a week. So you can see times 52, that's almost 47 kilo per year. So I'm much lower than the average of Western countries, because well, in the US they're above 100, in Canada here it's about 90. In Europe, even countries that I consider to eat a lot, like France and Italy, are much lower. France is around 80, Italy is a bit above 70. So there's lots of differences. And also I need to see what kind of protein do I eat. So I have 47 kilo of meat per year, and I've done the calculation. That comes down to 32 grams per day. So you see, I take 32 grams of protein a day from meat, my needs vary between 56 and 80. So let's see what else I eat. So, well, when I eat meat, well, it's always a full meal. So I have always a side of starch, which is pasta, rice, potatoes, and I'm going to always have veggies. I love veggies, and I always finish my meal with fruit. I always start with either a salad or a soup, and when it's a soup, it's a veggie soup. So it's very diverse diet. So if I look at the side of starch, well, if I take pasta, well, this one says 15% of protein. This one says it comes also to 15. I would say when I take pasta, yeah, I probably have 15 grams of protein coming from the pasta. If I take rice, it would be more like 7, 8. Yeah, it's about 8 gram per 8 to 9 gram per 100 gram, and that's about what I also would eat. Potatoes, from what I've looked up, it's a lot less. But it all depends, because I love mashed potatoes and tend to put some milk in it, so it increases. So, but I would say with potatoes probably I get about 6-7 grams of protein. So for my side of starch, with the protein that's included, let's say I round it up at 10 grams per day. Next to that, of course, I eat also, I drink milk, about a quarter of a liter, and a quarter of a liter here says it's 9 grams of protein. So I take 9 grams of protein out of milk. I also eat yogurt on a regular basis. This one 16 grams per 175 grams. I would say I probably have about 3 times of that, so it's about, well, 45 grams of protein here, 45 grams of protein over 7 days, so let's say around 6 grams of protein that I get from yogurt on a daily basis, on a daily average. Next to that, I love beans and peas and all the legumes or pulses, depending which part of the world you are, you call them different names. You can see I have quite a bit. These are lentils. I can buy them in can. Here's chickpeas, here's black beans. Here I have a mix of beans. And I would say that I eat probably about at least once a week on average, but if I take about the average here, I would say the equivalent of that in one meal. So that would be about 4 times 6, 32 grams, and I would eat probably a bit more than that. So I would say, to round it up, something like 5 grams of protein average per day that I get from legumes. And next to that, well, I eat quite a bit of this bread, good bread. It's about 150 grams a day, so let's say 10 to 15 grams of protein. And the other thing I was not talking about is cheese, although I've seriously reduced my consumption of cheese since I'm in Canada. Unfortunately, I don't find it so great, but Hervé, you're in France, you know what good cheese is. I know what good cheese is too. But anyway, I would say I would eat about 7.5 kilos of cheese a year, and that comes down to about 3 grams of protein from cheese on an average daily basis. So you've seen, let's recap a little bit all the things I've said. So with the meat, 32 grams plus 10 for my starch thing, it's 42, plus milk 9, says 51, plus the cheese 54, the yogurt I said 6, that's about 60 grams now in total. If I add the legumes, 6, so 66. And I was mentioning, I forgot the fish. About on average fish I probably would have about 4. So you can see now we are reaching 70. And the bread 10 to 15, so 80 to 85 grams of protein a day. Also, I've forgotten about the eggs. Here they say the eggs, 2 eggs, 13 grams of protein, so I would say 1 egg, 6.5. I probably eat about 4 to 5 eggs a week, so that would be 25, 6. Let's say 4 grams of protein out of eggs on average in a day, but we're going to do the calculation and present that. So I would say from my needs varying from 56 to 80, although I have very active lifestyle, so I do a lot of sport and I have quite a bit of the yard to take care of, and I do it all with elbow grease. So I would say I'm probably a little on the higher end, but even that, I'm up there. I'm probably a little above my needs, but it's nothing really outrageous. And you can see that the ratio of the meat in all of that is not outrageous either. Yeah, that's a great exercise actually that you forced me to do here, because I've discovered a few things, and actually I've been surprised by certain of those numbers. Certain of those components I thought had a higher level in my diet, they haven't. So I'm going to draw some lessons here, and that's an exercise I would also really encourage everybody to do. It's not that complicated. Of course, the diet in the end, you have to look also at how much carb, fast carb, slow carb, how much fat you have, and also vitamin and minerals to make sure that you have a balanced diet. But I would say it's a good exercise. You can draw your lessons. I'm not going to say here what you should do. I think that's your choice. It's your choice between, well, the nutritional data and let's say the more scientific aspects, but you also, you cannot ignore the psychological aspect of food, because it's very important in food. We learn to love or not love certain foods in a very early age, and that's very difficult to change. Yeah, it's a good exercise to do. And yeah, draw some lessons and realize that you probably indeed can actually cover your nutritional needs much better and in a more harmonious way.
If you're interested in my videos, please click on the subscribe button, or you can also visit my website.